Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions. Sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is May 31st. It is Wednesday. It is the last day of May, and this is the Pop-Off. I am Gene FitzMagic, joined by Caleeb Pinkett, Abby Washington, Matt Hamilton. How you guys doing?
What's going on?
Big weekend, big basketball weekend, and now we go into the finals. And I have been vindicated once again. Tatum proved me right again.
No, he was hurt.
He didn't.
He was hurt. I don't want to hear it. If you're on the court, you can't say you were hurt. You played. You scored 14 points in 42 minutes. Listen, if he was that hurt, he couldn't have did 42 minutes. So I am vindicated. So Caleb can hold on to that jersey for one more year, and Nigel can hold on to his hat design for one more year. And Boston fans, maybe better luck next year. Maybe that, Boston fans. But you know what? We actually have a fun guest in the house. I've interviewed him plenty of times before. He's a friend. Zach Sedelis is in the house from Walking Dead, from Space Pups. Also, he's a national championship in college football. So we'll be talking to him in a few minutes before we get into our basketball stuff. But I digress, and let me go into how was everybody's holiday weekend. Caleb, would you do anything fun this weekend, Caleb? Out in Cali?
No, I just I've relaxed at home. I didn't do too much on holiday weekends. I usually don't like to do a lot because there's a lot of traffic, and the police are out with those what do you call it, sobriety checks points and all of that stuff. So I don't like being bothered with nothing. So I like chilling. But I did go to one event on Memorial Day itself for a couple hours, and then came back home. I didn't really do too much. It was
a nice, easy breezy holiday weekend.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's bad enough traffic in LA back just in regular times of the year. Forget about when it's a holiday weekend, right? So, Abby, how was your weekend, man?
I feel like I haven't been on because I was sick all of last week, so my allergies are still kind of lingering. But I saw Guardians of the Galaxy on Friday.
How good was that?
I wanted to cry. Like, it was
about 10 different times.
Yeah, with Rocket, the whole background story. I was a sucker for all those scenes. Went hiking in Sedona for the weekend. And then Monday, just kind of watched the game, hung out, barbecued. Stayed in town, though. Didn't want to go out of town. The traffic, like you guys were saying, the traffic is awful everywhere.
Yeah. By me, it's not even the traffic. It's all the road work they're doing on Long Island right now. Mm-hmm. It's like, you can't travel anywhere without getting stuck in single lane traffic on three. We have a 3 lane highway that's all like single lane for miles and miles. Yeah. But Matt, how about your weekend up there in the Great North?
The Great North. Well, it was not a holiday this weekend.
I know. So what did you do?
Yeah, not much, man. It was beautiful in Vancouver. So a lot of did a beach. I got a pool at my place, so hung out by the pool, played some softball, made sure beer tastes the same as the last time I checked.
It's good thing you double checked that.
Just you got to be on top of it. Other than that, that's about it.
How are your Leafs doing? Oh wait, they're not alive anymore. That's right. I'm sorry.
Fuck.
So you know what? We're gonna talk some basketball. Tatum is done. You know what? And guys, also just a heads up, what we're gonna do. Starting on the 12th of June, we're going to be doing our off-season NBA, our off-season NBA group of shows where each day we're gonna take one or two teams and talk about what they need to do this off-season. And then starting in July, once camps open up, we're gonna be doing I think 2 a day. We'll be doing 2 teams a day. Going over all the NFL stuff with, what we expect from each team going through. So you're going to get full coverage on every NBA team for the offseason from us in about a week and a half for about a month. And then the month after that, during training camp and preseason, you're going to get all our predictions for pretty much every NFL team. So stick around for those. But without further ado, let's bring our guest in, Zach Sedelis.
Hey, everybody.
Zach, my man.
What's going on?
It's good to have you in the house. How's the family? But first and foremost, how's the fam?
Family's good. Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's happy. So can't complain on that front.
There we go. Now I've interviewed Zach a few times. Always just a great guest. Turned out to be just a really good friend. So I just want to say that. So if I have a lot of softball questions, everyone will know why. I'm going to take it easy.
Now, you have friends?
have a couple of friends, Matt. I have a couple of friends.
I didn't know we were friends, Gene. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Let me write that.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't know if I'm smart enough to answer them, but we'll go with whatever you throw at me.
Well, you know what? Let's start. I'm always want to start with some college football. I know you actually have a national championship. So for people who haven't caught any of the previous interviews, tell us a little bit about your college basketball. What am I talking about? College football run with the Gators. What it's like to win that championship. Let's get a little to the backstory of Zach Sandella's story.
Well, I see you show like the one picture. The one picture that I have in anything. Now, I'll make it really, really brief. I was fortunate to be on the 1996 national championship team. I had a good career, got injured, and then that was the end of that. But I was under Coach Spurrier. I had some really, really good players and talent around me. I was an offensive lineman. I was a center, so I wasn't some kind of a known star guy. So, just that was. I mean, I don't even want to make the segment about Florida football, but it was a great career. I felt like I could have done more, but when you get injured and come damaged goods, it's about all you can do, which happens to a lot of people. So, but I learned a lot. But if you're talking about when you talk about college sports, the Gators don't even mention them because they're not going to do anything in the next 10 years.
You think they're in that deep of a hole right now?
There's so many things that go on. I mean, I'm not bashing my school. I mean, they're landlocked. The NIL money is a mess. They can't get their act together there. The coaching staff is good, but our facilities, even though we built an $85 million facility, they're behind Alabama. They're behind Arkansas. Like I said, they're landlocked, so they can't expand unless they go to a different part of the city, unless they tear down some structures. On campus and expand for it, which might happen. They might tear down, they might be able to move the track facility someplace else and make that a big football facility. But you're talking about years and years, and they have to have some success to do that. And I think it's really difficult to recruit some players. And plus, their colors are getting lighter and lighter, which it's just gross to watch that electric blue. I like the dark. And they have glitter. They have glitter on their helmets. That starts to bother me a little bit. The Meyer really destroyed the program. I don't care what he brought 2 national championships. He still destroyed the program inside out.
He left it not in a good place. I'll agree with you there. For what he did bring, he did leave it kind of in a shambles. And maybe he kind of knew some stuff was coming. That's why he got out. Although I'll tell you what. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
He knew things were coming.
So I'll tell you what, though, you guys produced a heck of a quarterback. I think this Anthony Richardson is going to be an all-time pro with Indianapolis. I love his game. I think he's got a lot of the things
all-time pro.
You don't think so?
Don't get Gene started on this guy.
Abby's heard me before. I love Anthony Richardson.
I know. I've heard all-time pro is
he reminds me of Josh Allen coming out of college. The things that he has wrong with him are coachable and fixable. The things you can't teach, those are coachable. But what can't you teach is size and speed. Cable will tell you the certain things you just can't learn, you can't get taught.
Very true.
And that's where we're at right now. And I think you guys are going to produce one heck of a college quarterback in the pros. My cat is trying to.
I think Anthony Richardson needs a restraining order against you, Gene.
No,
I'm just a fan, man. I just think he's really going to be. I really do think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be the best out of this bunch. And Matt loves to. Matt always likes to push my buttons, man.
I wouldn't. I would never.
It sounds you are a little bit, but let's talk a little bit before we get into the acting side. Let's talk a little pro football. I know now we talked earlier. I know you originally you watch a lot of Patriot games because you have family in the Boston area. But being that you're so close to it, how do you feel about this Aaron Rodgers to the Jets?
I mean, I'm excited to see the Jets. Hopefully, it'd be a great storyline. Like I said before, I'm a football fan, so the storylines are great. And if the AFC East is going to be out of the toughest division, along with the AFC West, and then even the AFC North are all I think the toughest divisions in football. You look at all of their teams on those 3 divisions are all ranked in the top 20. Coming out of preseason. Now, clearly, this is way ahead. We're putting the cart before the horse. We have a long way to go before the season even starts. Who knows who gets Hopkins? I don't know who. If the Jets swing and get Hopkins, or the Bills get Hopkins, or the Chiefs, or even the Browns. Who knows? That changes some things. But still, they got to stay healthy. And so, but I'm excited to see what Aaron Rodgers does. It's going to be really fun. And going back before we talked about before, the coaching staff, the Le'Veon Bell story when he talked about the coaching staff not teaching Sam Darnold the proper blocking schemes for the O-line. I mean, for those things for a quarterback to know and them not to teach it. Now you got Hackett in there who should be able to, Aaron's going to know the blocking protections.
Yeah.
Bring everybody else along. So I think the Jets are looking really, really good. I just hope everybody stays healthy on that turf. That's my only concern. I know they've had issues on the turf in the past.
Yeah. I remember when San Francisco came to town, lost like 3 players. They played, I think, 2 weeks in a row. They played the Giants and then they played the Jets and they lost like 3 or 4 people in that 2-week span. It was about 2-3 years ago. Yeah, you're right, though. It is all about health. If healthy, though, I think we're better than the Bills this year. And I know that's saying a lot, but Matt, don't roll your eyes. Abby, if Aaron Rodgers is 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers, right? Not the one that had the sore thumb last year. If he's 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers, where are they better than us? Really, just in the wide receiver department, I think is the only spot they're better than us.
I keep saying this over and over. We beat the Bills with Zach Wilson. Okay,
exactly.
Like they honestly, the Bills struggled even when we faced them the second time last year. The Bills still struggled against our defense.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter. We're still eating them up. So honestly, like Josh Allen, like I said, he can't get away from some of our edge rushers. So imagine Will McDonald coming after him. Like that dude's fast. He's gonna eat him up.
Yeah. And we'll remember the play Bryce Huff like almost tore his arm off.
He's quick.
So yeah, I find that I think we have a better defense. When healthy, I think our offensive line is just as good. We have a better running game when healthy. Quarterback is maybe a toss-up. The receivers, I think the only way they got us right now is in the receiver department, and maybe tight end because I love that rookie tight end they got, Dalton Kincaid. I think he's gonna be a stud. But so other than that, though, I think we match up really well against the Buffalo Bills, and I think that puts us in line to take the division this year. Finally.
For Aaron Rodgers' age, he's still very mobile. He's not like Joe Flacco standing like a statue back there. You know what I mean?
No.
So even if our offensive line is still kind of making those adjustments, I think we're going to be fine.
Oh, he's mobile. You saw some of the Swiftie concert. He was
yeah. Well, the other thing too, Gene, is the fact that he's participating in OTAs.
Yes.
So those little calf injury he had, the little foot injury, those things, he's tweaking that out now to make sure that doesn't happen in the fall where you have those little nicky injuries. I mean, he's going to be able to go through the whole off season, teach these guys and be committed there. That's going to be a big difference, I think, in the long run. He's in a New York market. He's not going to be able to, he's got to. I mean, you've seen their schedule. The schedule's pretty tough.
First 6 weeks are tough.
Yeah, they're going to be grinding it out, but at the same time, he's not going to be, if he doesn't, if bad press motivates him, he may get some of that really, really quickly if he's not careful. So,
well, and that's the thing too is he can't it's hard enough to fly under the radar when you're Aaron Rodgers, even in Green Bay, but in New York, there's going to be the pressure's even higher. You're going to have no shot to really fly under the radar here. And you're right. He's getting all those little nagging injuries that happen usually in the beginning of training camp. He's getting those out of the way now. He's getting like the little calf injury, the little hamstring tweak. He's getting all those little things just from being sedentary for a couple of months. He's getting all that stuff out of the way now because now he's using his muscles again. Stop! My cat's trying to jump on the desk. So I do think that he's also the other thing too is one of the things that I think hurt him last year is it took him a while to build his rapport with Christian Watson. Now he finally did. And they actually had a good second half of that season. Well, he's building that rapport already with Garrett Wilson. He's not going to have to wait till training camp. He's doing it at the OTAs now, so that way when they get to preseason, when they get to the regular training camp and whatnot, he's already in full swing with Garrett Wilson and whoever else that you need to be in full swing with the running game, the everything, the offensive linemen. They're all going to have like their stuff already going already. So
you know how I know he built a rapport with Christian Watson. Because it started in the Cowboys game when he had the 3 touchdowns.
That might have been more to do with the Cowboys secondary.
And we have a good secondary. There was one person who could beat you on that team, and it was Watson. And he just did over and over again. It was like, why is this happening? Anyways, go on as you were.
That's where I'm at. But so what's your take for the division? Do you have an idea of where you think people finish up in this division, Zach? In the AFCs.
I think you're going to find out pretty quickly September 11th when they play the first game of the season. The Bills play the Jets. We'll see. But, I mean, I can't. It depends on where Hopkins goes. If it goes the Bills, I give it to the Bills. I think it'd be 1-2 Bills, Jets. It could easily be 1-2 Jets Bills, and you can't take the Patriots out of there either. I mean, Patriots are still the Patriots. They still can sneak in and steal a game here or there. They might have some mind control over the Jets, but I think that overall, if I'm a betting man, I bet the Bills to go ahead and take the division. But that doesn't mean the Jets are out of it by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I would love to see the Jets run the table in the Super Bowl. I would love to see it. This is a great storyline. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the Ravens do it. I'd love to see some of these other teams do it. But but the Bills, they've been there for a while. They're in the hunt, and they've got a young team, and they've been trying to push the Chiefs out for a while now. So we'll see what happens. But I'd bet on the Bills for that division.
I agree with you with the DeAndre Hopkins thing being so important. I think wherever he ends up, if he ends up in the AFC East, whichever team he ends up on, I think he's that much extra that puts that other team up, of course. Because where I think the Bills already have a better receiving core, he takes that receiving core to another level. But if he comes to the Jets, then I give the Jets the better receiving core. I think he's that important to this division if he ends up in this division. I mean, I know a lot of people still saying the Chiefs. Now the Browns are in the mix with the connection to Watson. But if he comes to the Jets, I think that gives the Jets a nice firm leg above the Bills. That's my personal thought. But Abby, am I wrong? You tell me.
No, I think you're right. I just quite frankly don't think he's going to the Jets, to be honest. I don't know. I just have a feeling. I know we can cut Corey Davis, save some money, but just with all the reports and everything, it just seems like the Jets are kind of out of it. And honestly, he just seems like a better fit for a team like the Browns or the Bills. I think he wants to be more utilized. And now that we have, Garrett Wilson, Lazard, and I mean, we still have Corey Davis, I don't really know that there's really room for him to be the star that he kind of wants to be.
I think so. If you look at the Bills have Gabe and they have Diggs, and you're still going to put him there. I think Gabe and Diggs are better than Wilson and Lazard. Do you know what I mean?
That's true, but do you think if Hopkins comes, where do you think that leaves Garrett Wilson to grow?
I think Garrett Wilson is number one he's 1A. 1B, I should say. You got one. What has this expression go? 1B, 1A, 1B, or 1A. He's right there with DeAndre Hopkins, but and Lazard is the one I think you wouldn't put him right there with him.
He's not on DeAndre Hopkins' level.
Hopkins hasn't done much the last couple of years because he's been injured.
Because he doesn't want to.
No, because he did steroids.
All right, here's the deal. Football, steroids is way different. It's not like MMA and you're fighting. No. And he was great without all of that. So I don't care about that. To me, that holds no merit. He is a top 3 receiver, period.
You think wait, you think DeAndre Hopkins is top 3 today?
Right now. You just haven't seen him play. And instead of thinking, he hasn't been playing for 2 years, I'm looking, he's been resting for 2 years. Let me tell you something. That dude is phenomenal. And you saw what happened. They were saying the same thing about a guy. What was his name? What they call him? Randy Moss. He's washed up. He was in Oakland. Look at him. Belichick said, bring him here. Next thing you know, he's right back to the best receiver in the NFL like that. Stop it.
But playing with Tom Brady.
Who cares?
Josh Allen is no Tom Brady.
Was throwing the ball. You act like Tom Brady was like this phenomenal Dan Marino type thrower. Tom Brady was not.
That year he was.
He just won all the time.
That year
he had a great coach that knew that had it. And I'm not taking nothing from Tom, but Tom he wasn't known for just having that arm and a crazy passer. No.
That was the year he stepped up. I think that was the year.
You want to know why? Because he had a dude who could stretch the field and catch it with one hand on people like that.
Are we talking about the one over Darrelle Revis in the back of the end zone? Because I still remember that play.
Come on, man. Randy Moss was the best receiver.
You might not have been a Jet fan yet, but
Randy Moss was the best receiver when I graduated high school in 1998. Okay? And then played for the Patriots, what was that, 2010, 2012, and took the league by storm. And everybody said the time when he was in Oakland, he was washed up. He's not the same. Same thing y'all saying about DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm not saying he's washed up. Pump the brakes. I never said washed up. I said we haven't seen him play in a couple of years. We don't know what he is right now.
That's insinuating that he's not that no more. I'm telling you right now, he's going to shock the league.
Do you think he's an All-Pro next year? Do you think he's an All-Pro next year?
Absolutely. But with the right, if he gets the ball, if you target him, I've seen some of the hardest catches I've ever seen receivers make by that dude. I'm serious. He is phenomenal. I'm telling you, whoever he goes to, changes everything for
Well,
that.
I did say that, but I also don't think he's a top 3 receiver either, though. I think he's top 10.
I could give you that. That's fair right now, but I'm telling you, watch this season.
I have to agree with you.
Something to
I did say he's going to change the team, and he makes whatever team he goes to in the AFC East, the better team to win. But
he ain't going to the AFC East.
Where do you think he's going to change?
He's going to Cleveland. Watch. They're going to break the bank to get him because Cleveland wants to win at all costs, as you've already seen.
They have to.
They're bringing DeAndre. They're bringing Hopkins there. Him with your old friend Matt, Mr. What's his name? You know who he is. He used to play for Dallas. I don't know why I'm blanking.
An Oakland receiver. Yeah, you're right. I'm blanking on his name too.
Peoples-Jones?
No, the receiver.
From Alabama. Amari Cooper.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Amari Cooper over there. Listen, Nick Chubb. That's a nasty team. And Watson is going to be back. That first season, bumpy. We get it. But watch. That's where Hopkins is going.
As long as he stays out of the spas, he should have a nice bounce back season.
Hey, listen, if I was saying, man, please buy a spa and do what you do. You don't want to hear that, man. All that stuff is ridiculous.
Thanks, Zach, for being on the show today.
I'm sorry, Zach. We got completely off the rails. Let's get back to Zach.
No, you're good. No, it's good. It's good. It's awesome.
No, so, Zach, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like the disrespect to great players because you ain't seen them in a season or two. They not like that no more.
He's been hiding out in Arizona. He's been hiding out in Arizona.
It's a waste. It is a wasteland right now for football. So it's maybe, and that's not his fault. So I do what you're saying.
I think he's gonna bounce back, but I could be wrong. But I think he's gonna kill it.
I hope he does. The league's better.
I don't think he's bouncing back from anything though. He's never gone anywhere. He's just. I don't think he's never. There's no question he's bouncing back. He's a great receiver. He's been on a Cardinals team that, quite frankly, has been up and down and throwing Hail Marys, and their offense has been all disarray. And you got a guy playing video games instead of learning the playbook.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, that's. You talk about how good Tom Brady was. He knew the playbook. He studied.
Well,
he studied.
To be fair, the gameplay in Madden is very true to the
Yeah, Tyler's studying. He's studying.
There's rumors that Caleeb Williams, if he was to get drafted by the Cardinals, he would try not to go to the Cardinals. There's already rumors about that. So not that he has a choice in it, but let's get back. Well, it spells it a little differently, but I can see why you'd say that.
He has a great name.
And speaking of, I just noticed Matthew Hamilton's thing right there. I don't.
Oh, my hat?
No, on your name. Yeah. Under your name. I don't understand.
Oh, that.
I don't understand the disrespect.
Oh, it's just a statement that everyone can understand and get with. So
I think I'm up $20 now.
About galvanizing people together.
I'm up $20 now on our season long bet. So
yeah, we still got some games.
So Zach, let's get into a little bit of Walking Dead. What was that experience? I mean, I know we spoke about it before, but for the new listeners that haven't heard already, what was that? You got to be a part of that legendary cast, especially right there towards the end. What was that like to be part of that, especially at that point in time?
It was a great experience. I was very fortunate to be a part of it. I think that I wish our group would have lasted a little bit longer. Clearly, but it was wrapping up in that season 11, that season end. But it was still, it was a great experience getting to be part of that Walking Dead family and being welcomed in and get to see people work. And we were on set for a while, so we got to kind of see how everybody worked. And got to, with Norman Reedus and all the crew and get to see Jeffrey D. Morgan and to kind of see how that process goes. And, their spinoffs are going to be successful as well. I don't know how successful they're going to be, but it was a good experience. I mean,
would you be involved if they were going to do a prequel about the group you were part of? If they were going to do a prequel series to show where you guys came from, would you be part of that? Would you want to be part of that?
Oh, absolutely. They've talked about it. We've had some, there's been a couple of meetings that they've discussed it, but it just depends on what the content is. I think they're waiting to see what the spinoffs do and where they go and how we can do prequels and go through and see how that would develop. I think AMC's, the writers and the way they kind of set up for the future, they've got so many things on the table to see what would work. And so I know they were a popular group, but it just depends. I mean, it's like anything else. You can plug a group in, and if you can give it some fire and give it a little bit of push, I think that the fans would take off with it, but it just has to be the right timing, has to be what AMC wants, has to be, the right, what's going on. So I would definitely be involved in it. I'd love to be involved in it. But the meetings, that's all they've been is meetings. There's no concrete, decision yet.
What's something that you took out of that experience going forward into other acting jobs that you had? Is there something that you learned from some of the other actors that you were on set with, something you brought from that experience to other experiences?
I think mainly a lot of the time, some of the scenes we were in, so there's a lot of whispering when you talk because you're mic'd up, and obviously I've acted for a while, so I know that. But sometimes that energy, you feel like that people are whispering, so you don't think the energy's there. And there's a couple of takes that I came in a little too strong, so I kind of learned really quickly not to yell, but not to raise my voice as much. I was like, why is everybody? I couldn't even hear their lines. Like, why are they whispering so much? And I'd come in with my line, which is a little bit pointed, and they were like, whoa, they're like, whoa, all right, they didn't tell me to calm it down, but I could tell by the room. I was like, all right, I'm a little too strong here. I'll bring it down. But I just kind of learned really how it's different than stage acting. There's so much you do on the stage. You have to project, and in film, it's so subtle. It's so quiet. And sometimes sometimes less is more. So I learned a little bit of that, but every time I'm on a set, I learn something. I usually learn what not to do really quickly. And then I put that and go, okay, don't do that. And we'll move on from there. So
Zach, how did you transition from football to acting? Like how did that come about?
Well, when I wanted to actually be a theater major at Florida, but I have government employed parents. My mom was a teacher for 45 years. My dad was an investigator with the state for 30 years. And I told him I'm going to major in theater. Like, no, you're not. You're not going to get a degree in major, and you're not going to waste a full-time degree in theater. So I actually went the route of law enforcement for over 16 years and was a homicide detective. And then from there transitioned back to acting. But the whole time I was at Florida, I helped out with the program. I did some things for the theater department, and then we did plays in the local theaters. And then as while I was a homicide detective as well as a cop, I was doing theater things. And then I hopped back into it when I finished law enforcement, and was fortunate enough to get on the right project where I got bumped up from background to cast on Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then it was right back in the saddle from there. So it was that transition wasn't. It was easy because that transition was easy. I obviously got bumped up to cast. I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. And then from there, once again, going back to school, getting classes, making sure I get back in the mix, going back and making sure I check with casting directors and just continue to work on the craft and hone the craft. So, between that and writing, we've got a couple of screenplays that are out there. So just trying to immerse myself in the profession. And then you just see what happens, Matt. I mean, I have no idea. That wave could be 5 minutes or that wave could be 15 years. Mm-hmm. You have no idea. And so basically right now I'm just trying to catch little waves and hopefully a big one catches, and we'll see.
Nice. So when you were in law enforcement, did you, I mean, I don't know if it's a stupid question or not, but did you ever have to investigate the Florida Gators? Anyone on the Florida Gators?
Well, so
around 2009.
So Jeremy Foley, the former athletic director, and I had a cell phone, and I would let him know prior to, like, we knew. I mean, I'd get called because I knew the guys on the road. I say, listen, if anybody from Florida gets in trouble, give me a heads up so I can not help them, but let Jeremy know ahead of time. So hey, coming down the pipe. So I get a call at 2 a.m. Hey, so and so's got a DUI. Just letting you know. So I called Jeremy up and let him know so they can at least deal with that problem on the front end. So whenever they weren't surprised when they walked in the office at 8:30 in the morning that so-and-so got arrested. Yeah. Right. Usually most of the players lived within the city of Gainesville, which is our sister agency, Gainesville Police Department. So we were the sheriff's office. So we could oversee the city, but they mainly worked with a lot of the cases. So I didn't have to investigate any players directly, but I was aware of what was going on. I mean, there's the stuff with Alex Hernandez, and I'm not even going to name the other two because they haven't gotten in trouble. But there's some things that have gone on there was a couple of homicides in Gainesville in parking garages downtown that I'm not putting them on Aaron, but GPD did. Gainesville Police Department, they already charged Aaron and closed the cases.
Yeah.
But here's another thing, caveat to that. It's real easy to charge somebody who's already dead.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and clear our cases out. He must have done it. So, but there was some suspicion, but I can't say there was hard evidence there. So, you know, it happens, man. I mean, the Meyer years and college kids getting in trouble. I mean, but you know, DUIs are one thing, but when you start talking about sexual assaults, you start talking about homicides. That's something that goes way beyond, you know, just stupid kid stuff. That's right. Moral issues. Those are dilemmas that those kids have. So, some kids, not all of them.
Yeah, right. Cool. All right, Gene, as you were, carry on.
Would you ever want to get into, like, could you ever see, like, if Florida came and said, hey, we want to get you involved with the program in some way, shape, or form, whether it be athletically in the gym, or did you ever enter, like, I mean, I guess now you're an actor, that's it. But was there a point where you would want to have gone back, maybe learn how to be a coach? Was there ever a desire for coaching?
You know, when I was playing, I thought about coaching, and then I had a buddy of mine whose dad was a coach for years, and that lifestyle, it's probably changed now, but you're always on the road, you're always constantly going now with the contact, the rules as far as contact on social media and the issues. It's just a really tough job. I know it's great to, when you see national championship games or conference championship games, and you see, you know, these guys on the sidelines, you say, oh, you know, these coaches they're making so much money, but there's a price they pay for that. They're always there. They're always at the facility. They're always recruiting. And you're dealing with universities now that you have to have instant success. No one's going to give you a 10-year contract. So, you know, if you're, and as a coaching staff, it usually is a group of people who you can recycle back and forth. But you can be easily replaced so quickly. And so I kind of got out of that thought process of coaching. I've got buddies of mine who've tried to get involved with the program, but because of the NIL money and because of some of the meetings they've had, they're really, really brokenhearted about how Florida's doing things. I don't know about other universities, but Florida specifically, as far as how they are going about raising money to try to get some of these kids. It's people, when we talked about before, people being competent for their jobs. There are people running the NIL money for Florida that, I'll go ahead and say it, they're incompetent. They're incompetent. They're not looking at the future. They're looking at right now. They're not looking at what's going to progress down the road. The same with the university as far as being landlocked and not building bigger facilities. I don't know. That's my problem. Is I get in the room and I talk like I'm talking right now, and then I would be immediately thrown out of the room. That's just how it would be, because people want yes men. They want people to, hey, this is a great idea when it's a terrible idea. And I just, I think I'm past the point of fluffing people. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'll tell you why. And if you prove me wrong, I'm great. I'll listen. Okay, I was wrong. I'll move on. Let's go. But you can't answer the question. If you can't tell me why you're doing something and it passed the smell test, then that doesn't make any sense to me.
And that's a shame, because it's such a storied franchise, not franchise, but a university as far as when it comes to their football history. So that's a shame that there's this much kind of like disconnect with what they're trying to do now. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure if you talk to anybody else who's involved in it, they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to say that. I'm not trying to bash Florida. Believe me, I'm not.
No, I get it.
I'm just trying to be honest as far as we need to really look at what our downfalls are and really need to, progress towards the future and see what we can do to fix it. And I don't think they're doing that. And maybe behind the scenes they are, but from what I understand with people who are plugged in, it's one of those things where, hey, we're Florida, we're great. We're not Florida. We're not the 96 team anymore.
Yeah. So let's talk some Space Pups, man. That's the latest film. What was that like being part of that? Like, was that a lot of CGI, or was that really what's it like working? I guess, and Matt can speak to this a little bit, because he's worked with a pup with a cast.
Matt's too busy updating underneath his name.
Judge is a cheater. Yeah, real nice. But what's it like working with a cast of dogs? Is it more challenging as an actor? Like, what's it like? What was the experience like with Space Pups?
Well, I mean, I was fortunate to be a part of the project because it's a true kids movie. So there's so little kids content out there now. They need more of it to be able to trust. Hey, I can sit here and watch this with my child and not have to worry about curse words or or any sexual issues. And I think that was, I kind of gravitated towards that project because I thought, hey, this is really cool to have one of these movies that the kids can watch and not have to worry about, any language issues, especially young kids.
Yeah.
I didn't work with the dogs, firsthand. All my scenes were not with the dogs. I mean, they weren't even in any of my scenes.
But you weren't on set with them and involved with any of it, like seeing any of it?
No, I didn't. I wasn't on set with any of the dogs. I mean, I know there's a lot of CGI. Yeah, the way they shot everything, all my scenes were all at night. They were all like 2 or 3 in the morning. So I didn't. They shot all the stuff with the dogs prior to, and so because they had kids on set, so there's rules of how they had to get the shots in with the kids, and then they have only a window they can shoot before they have to take a break. And so when they took a break, then they brought our crew in. We shot through the night and then moved on. But I know there's a lot of CGI. I know they did a great job editing everything. It's one of those kids movies where it's a little bit of corniness, but it's also fun, and it's just the expectations are, hey, this is going to be a fun movie. It's what it is. It's a kids movie, which is great. So I know a mutual friend of ours, Mark Daniel, was also one of the dogs as well. What was it like to be working with, like, I guess he was in studio. You didn't really work with Mark because he was obviously a voice, but to be friends with him and also be on the same project, how'd that feel to do something like that? No, it's cool. Mark's got a great voice. He did a great job voicing over Hex, the dog, and who's one of the aliens, and he did a great job. And he's, we knew we were working on the project together, but we just weren't on set together. He was obviously doing everything through the studio and working through. But Mark's a good guy, obviously very, very talented actor, and has a great voice. So, it's one of those things, those projects where it happens sometimes. And we just finished. We did Red One, which is The Rock and Chris Evans. We did from I think it was from October through January. And, there's a lot of guys I know worked on that, but we would work different days, different groups, and you never see them. But you in passing at the hotel or passing on set when they were going to film and you were going, it's a crazy way they set it up and they bring everything together for their final product. So it's interesting, but you're there, you just don't get to hang out all the time. What's next? Now actually, before we even, where can we find Space Pups? Let everybody know where they can find Space Pups. I think it's streaming on Hulu, and that's one of the main streaming services that it's streaming on. And I think I want to say Freeform, but I think it's mainly Hulu. There you go. Make sure you go check that out. And so, what's next for Zach Sedelis? What do we got coming up down the pipe? I've got a screenplay that's in progress to be made soon, and we're working on that. But we've got the writer's strike that's going on now. We've got SAG and the director's strike that's probably on the verge of happening as well because of the streaming services trying to get everybody paid for the right amount. And that's probably going to happen. And who knows how long that lasts? It could last in November, what the case may be. So our shooting's scheduled for November to start the shoot on the screenplay. And so, that's the next thing. And obviously clearly auditioning, but right now with the writer's shutdown, a lot of projects are just kind of on mute or on pause. So we're kind of just figuring stuff out. So just more of the day to day and, just kind of, sitting back and trying to be more creative in this time. Are you excited for the new Indiana movie? Say it again. I said, are you excited for the new Indiana movie? I am. I'm excited for it. I really I really think that those franchises would be so much like the Crystal Skull would have been so much better if you'd have woken up in an old folks home at the end and it all been a dream. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. All right, he was dreaming the whole thing. I get it. So I don't know how this one's going to turn out. I hope it's successful. I mean, obviously it's the last one. I've heard mixed reviews. I haven't seen it yet. Clearly, I haven't seen it. I've seen the trailer, but it's nostalgic. I mean, so even if it's not up to par as the other ones, it's nostalgic, and you can pick out bad parts in all the movies. Yeah, if you really want to be, a downer about it, you can always pick out a part of the movie like that didn't make any sense. But you take it what it is. It's entertainment. It's entertainment, and it's supposed to relieve you from stress for 3 hours, not cause more stress. There you go. Now, do we think there may be any changes to the stunt show based on this new movie down the road? Is there any talk of anything like maybe something coming from the new movie they might add? No, not yet. It depends. It depends on who the director is. I mean, we get different directors every couple of years, and they come in with a new thought process. And obviously, socially, what's going on socially happens. Like when Rust happened. They took away guns from the show. Like there was no more, guns. You couldn't shoot blank rounds anymore. Even though it's funny because they talk about people not getting hurt with blank rounds, but yet one of my characters gets chopped up by an airplane. So I don't know which is more violent. I don't know which is more violent, but I mean, it's just it's just whatever whatever they feel they need to do to change the show to make it better. But I think that it, as anything else, it evolves.
Yeah.
Human beings are involved. They have social pressures on different sides. So, it's never going to be perfect, and you just have to be flexible and move on and continue to do the show the best you can. And I think the fans are still enjoying it. Still packed houses every day, so you still got 2,000 people in the seats, standing room, that they love it. So, right now, I don't think it's going to go anywhere for a while.
All right, I love it. So, Zach, I just want to say thank you for joining us today, guys. Make sure you go check out Space Pups, Hulu, Freeform. Zach, you know what? I owe you a dinner, Zach. So when I'm down there, we got to make sure we link up and we'll go grab a bite. Even though we're not friends like I thought we were, I still owe you a dinner. So.
Hey, you make this Tatum comment. I mean, he rolled his ankle, man. He was tough. He played through 49 minutes. I mean, the guy, it would have been a different ball game possibly.
Yes. Zach, I just don't like that Tatum.
Well, I'm sorry that we segued into my acting career over more important things like sports and the Jets. So I apologize to any viewers that were like, "Oh God, I've got to sit through this." So hopefully you guys can move on, have some good arguments after I get off. I would love to be a part of any arguments in the future, just to listen. It was very fun. So.
We'll definitely have to have you back. Oh, Abby, you got something?
What is behind you, Zach? It looks like the nun.
It looks like my mother-in-law.
So my wife and I have become this way. She's a Halloween freak. So our house is decorated for Halloween all year long.
Wow.
So in the middle of, we've had people stay over here in the middle of the night. We've got stuff everywhere. That I think we had a buddy of ours who got up in the middle of the night. He was going to get some water or something. And he freaked out at one of our statues that we had. And I think he punched it, didn't break it, but he punched it because he didn't know what was going on. So we've got Halloween stuff all throughout the house.
That is funny.
So
I love the Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'm not going to put it all over my house.
No, listen, I'm a one fork, one plate, one glass kind of guy. My wife, she likes to decorate. So, hey, whatever she wants to do, whatever makes her happy, I'm fine with it. So
There it is.
There you go. And Zach, we'll definitely have to have you back, talk a little bit more sports in the future. If you want to come on and do that with us.
I'm on. So whenever you guys need somebody, you guys are really, you guys are hurting for a spot like, oh, what we can do. We'll just throw him in there and just give me some hard balls or fast balls, and I'll mess it up, and we'll cause some controversy on the show. And we'll come
as long as Matt's here, we're no stranger to controversy. We got Matt Hamilton. So there's something that he says that's borderline almost cancelization with Matt on the show. So
I got that covered.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll love to have you anyway. And please tell the missus I said hello, and I'll see you guys when I get down there, man.
All right, absolutely. Everybody, thank you so much. Nice meeting everybody. Thanks for having me.
Nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go recap that Miami-Boston game where Tatum flopped, as I love to say. We'll be right back after this.
Happiness is addictive. Passionate about spreading laughter and creating smiles worldwide. Happiness is addictive brings our global community together through humor, optimism, cheer, hopefulness, and merriment. Happiness is addictive. Happiness is addictive.
Craving your favorite theme park treats? Right from the comfort of your home? Introducing MainStreetTreat.com. We bring your favorite treats right to your doorstep. Visit MainStreetTreat.com today and go ahead, treat yourself.
Hey. Here we go, guys. I want to thank Zach for coming by and
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about Space Pups. And Zach, let me tell you, wonderful family. I know the family, great, just awesome individuals. We've interviewed him a handful of times, hung out a little bit in Orlando back when it was a little kind of my home for a year. So great dude. I'm glad that we
I watched his interview on Pete's show.
Yeah, he was on Pete Show as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a good dude. Pete McDevitt. Shout out to Pete McDevitt too. I got some stuff. I'll be
I
on
love him.
he's a good dude. He's wild. I'll be on his show on Thursday night talking some football. So as a matter of fact, I will be on with Abby's co-host on
Woody.
Woody. So he'll be on there as well. And
you guys will have to let me know what time, because I watched Pete's show when he was streaming the draft. I think I watched round 1 and 2.
Okay.
Basically up to the Jets pick, essentially.
Okay.
After that, I was like, bye.
After that, what matters, right? No other teams matter. Especially those Cowboys. But anyway, so let's get into the Aaron Judge is a cheater. Nice, real nice.
His dog is really cute though. Gus Judge, his little wiener dog.
Whose dog?
Aaron Judge, he had his dog on the field the other day. It's like a little wiener dog. It's so funny.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm. His name is Gus.
It's a weird
Gus Judge.
Gus Judge. All right, well, guys, let's get into the Miami and Boston game. I only have one thing to say about this game, and then I'm going to turn it over to Caleb. Tatum, 14 points in 42 minutes. That's all I needed to say. They lost in Game 7. Caleb, what was your take on this one? What did they need to do differently other than Tatum? Was there anything else they could have done with Tatum playing so poorly?
Oh, no, I think his injury took the wind out their sails, right? Like because they needed him. Now, Tatum is not Isaiah Thomas, because Isaiah Thomas did the same thing and scored 40 points, but he still lost. But it's one of the greatest playoff performances you'll ever see. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, it was when the Pistons played the Lakers and Isaiah Thomas twisted his ankle horribly. And this is before they even had ice. And Isaiah went out there and scored 40 points on one leg, essentially. So, we know it can be done. But it's still a messed up ankle. I feel bad for Tatum. It took the wind out of his sails. I saw him grimacing. And I think it was too much for Jaylen Brown. To come and be the man. It shouldn't have been, because he wants $300 million like he is the man. And for me, if you can't, he had more turnovers than assists. Like, it was horrific. Like, when they needed him, he was completely not there. So I think Boston has to look at themselves. You know what I mean? I doubt they're going to get rid of Brown. If anybody goes, sadly, it's going to be Smart, and they'll replace him to get a third person there. And I think Smart did his thing, but Smart, he wasn't making nothing either. He was a bricklayer as well. You would think he was a mason with all the bricks he was throwing up. So, it is what it is. I expected more from them, honestly, and I'll have to say this. I'm not in agreement with you, but I expected more out of Tatum, even with the twisted ankle, because I'm like, there is no tomorrow. Let's go get it, right?
And it's like you said, superstar. That's what superstars do, though. You said it yourself. Isaiah Thomas. I remember back in the 80s.
But that's a different time,
Bernard King hurt the knee.
You can't compare the injuries, man. Like they might be a similar injury, but it might not be the same thing.
If you're on the court, what do we always say? If you're on the field, you can't use that as an excuse later on.
But
I know is that. Go ahead.
Well, if you saw him out there, like he couldn't do anything. People just went around him. He had no push off.
Then he shouldn't have been out there.
Killing him.
He probably shouldn't have been, but it still provided a decoy.
Fair.
That works if Jaylen Brown actually hits his shots and takes over, which he didn't. Like as Caleb said, like Brown was fucking awful.
Yes,
I agree.
And it was just a boring. Like what a buzzkill of a game. I went to this pub. I had the Stars, the hockey game, the Stars and Knights. I was hoping for that to be like a 3-0 comeback to go to Game 7. I had the basketball game on a TV's right there. I was so stoked. Both games were brutal. It was such a letdown.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you a question though. Was it Tatum being hurt, or was it Miami winning this game?
Tatum being hurt.
Well,
I think it's a combination of the two, because that changed. Tatum getting hurt, like in the first play, changed the whole outcome of the game. But also, Boston couldn't hit a three. They were brutal again from beyond the arc.
They were 9 for 42 on threes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
brutal. And Miami was good. So every time they got they kind of got close. It's like, okay, here we go. They're down by 7. Let's go. Martin would just like hit a dagger 3 and just bury them. And like Jimmy Butler was good, but he wasn't like great. He had 28 points, but he took 28 shots. So that's actually not very good.
No.
You better score 28 points if you're taking 28
shots. Yeah.
So he was kind of forcing the issue a little bit, but Martin just was, man, he averaged what? I think 9 points in the regular season and 19 in this series. He
had the game of his life. Caleb Martin.
Yeah. Miami hit shots. Boston did not hit shots.
Do you think that maybe Tatum faked this injury because he knew he wasn't good enough? Is there any thought that could that be true at all?
No, I don't think so. I'm not. It's funny because I like Jason Tatum, but I kind of think he's overrated, to be honest. Like, I don't know. Honestly, the game felt like I was watching Game 6 with the Suns and the Nuggets. I kind of checked out because the game was it was over and then as soon as Miami came back from the half, game was over. They started off, they hit that first shot. I'm like, it ain't stopping. Yeah. But I do think it was the win was a combination of the two, Tatum being hurt and Miami just having that mentality of where, like, when they lost Game 6, if you listen to all their post conference or whatever, they were saying that they didn't even look worried at all about a Game 7 and going to Boston. They knew they were going to basically put in work.
We got a video. Patty, play the video of last year's Game 7. Same teams last year. Play that clip for us real quick, Pat. He has it somewhere.
You have to give him a second, remember?
I feel like it should have been queued up. We're talking about the game. I feel like it should have been queued up. Just play it when you get it. We'll continue, Pat. But yeah, listen, there's Tatum I feel like Tatum is such an enigma. Like, there's good Tatum and there's bad Tatum, and I feel like sometimes in the biggest games we don't get good Tatum. Like, listen, and it's hard for me to say how bad he is in big games because last series, Game 7, 50-something points. It's to the point where I thought I was going to have to now say, all right, Tatum's really good, and then he what did he do? Game 2 this series, he doesn't even shoot the ball in the fourth quarter. 14 points. Really good. I've never not said he's not really good. I've always stopped short of saying he's a superstar.
No, I get it. And he is, by today's standards, he absolutely is. And I would say that, he was injured. He twisted his ankle and, it's probably the size. He probably got a softball in his ankle today. Like if he was to look at it, you know what I mean? So it's a rough injury. And, when you get injured, it goes into your mind. And everything is mental when it comes to sports, especially a Game 7. It's mental more than physical. And when Miami saw him hobbled, they were like, we got this. Like, they already believed they could do it, but then that was like, God wants us to win. So now they're shooting, they're playing, like the spirit is different. And they did the reverse for the Celtics. They went down when they saw and they said, oh no. Right?
Like, what else can go wrong? Yeah.
It's one of those. And Tatum wasn't able to elevate in that moment, right? Like Michael Jordan's got the flu game. It's famous, right? Because he was sick. Now that you got people, oh, he wasn't really sick. It's like, oh goodness. You got Scottie Pippen. Oh, Jordan was terrible till I showed up. It's like, you just mad because Jordan's son is with your wife. Stop.
What is wrong with Scottie Pippen? Can we side note this? What's wrong with Scottie Pippen?
Listen, there comes a time, and this is like, you got to stop crying about what another man is doing because you start to sound like a real buster. That's the word I'll use. Like it's not masculine. It's not masculine.
And it's been excessive over the last like couple of years.
And
like, it's really
why over 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's like we're crying about it now.
Why are you why are you so mad at Michael Jordan? Nobody would know who you were unless you were with Michael Jordan.
I feel like the Last Dance like maybe triggered him. I feel like the Last Dance probably triggered Pippen. I think.
It did because Michael put him out there. Scottie didn't want the ball.
Yeah, but I think what sums up him a lot is, you remember the year that Jordan was gone, they went and they had the play design for the winning shot, and they went to Kukoc instead of Pippen. And Pippen was mad about it, even after they hit the shot. So
didn't he refuse to go back on the court? If I remember correctly, didn't he refuse to go back on the court?
Yes, and he refused to go back. That's what he's mad about him. Because it made him look bad. But listen.
But it should.
Yeah, like that's what it is. You know what I mean? That's why you're not Michael Jordan. Because Michael Jordan would have got off the bench. And first of all, they would have never designed a play not for Mike anyway. So that tells you who you are. If the coach thinks Kukoc should have it over you, right? Yeah. Again, that's all your own fault. You know what I mean? But I digress. The real issue, the wife with the son, because he's like, tell him that's his auntie. He mad because Mike ain't stopping it. And Scotty got his own bourbon now, so he be drinking too much. That's what happens. You don't want social media and a drink in your hand. You know what I mean? Because then and let me tell you something else, damn it. And you know what I mean? Like now you gone. So I think it's a combination of that. But I digress. I'm gonna get back to Tatum. Tatum doesn't have that thing on the inside. There's a difference between guys that have it. And let me tell you something. LeBron don't have it either. He has more than Tatum, but he don't really have it. Here's why. The Celtics in Boston and I think he was on the Heat. They were playing. And LeBron didn't come off the bench because it was too hot. The air condition wasn't working. It was too hot. Magic Johnson commented and said, "Are you kidding? They used to turn the heater on in the Boston Garden when we played, right? Like, if you can't play because it's too hot, like, what?" So that's these new generation of players. I saw the last Iron Man, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. I saw a brother with a torn Achilles get up, walk to the free throw line, hit both, refuse help, hobbled off the court. There you go. You know what I mean? Like, you making $90 million a year, you better show up. I don't care if the injury's not that catastrophic, and the torn Achilles is as catastrophic as it can get as far as movement. To not leave the court and to go to the free throw line and make them both. Listen, these new players don't have that mentality. They're businesses. They're like, I'm a businessman. You know what I mean? They're like, you know what it's like? You ever see Major League? One of my favorite sports movies of all time.
I love that
like
movie.
Roger Dorn. Yeah. He's like, "Hey, have you talked to your financial advisor? I can get you some real investment." He said, "I can give you some real investment opportunities." When he was talking to Tom Berenger's character when he didn't pick up that ground ball, and he said, "Dorn, I liked you so much better when you were just a ball player." Yeah. Right? Like, that's what it is. These guys, they're businesses, and they're like, "Well, no," you know what I mean? So. And I don't want to put that on Tatum because I do like him, but it feels like there's a little bit of that. You make too much money to not do it. There's a urban legend that Ronnie Lott had a jammed finger in the Super Bowl and chose to have it cut off. I don't know how true that is, but I heard it. But he does have enough.
It's legend. It is legend. Yeah,
he does have enough. So I'm just saying, like, there's just generations different.
Yeah, Yeah, Patty he just let me know he's having internet issues, so I'm gonna play that clip. I actually have to queue it up. So
Patty
I think
it's that Tatum. He got that Tatum. Hey, I would help, but my ankle's a little sore.
You know what? That's a great point, but great call out, Caleb. So I'm gonna play. It's a 30-second clip. This is them at the end of the Game 7 last year. Talking about
Jimmy missed the shot.
Well, I'll show you. We're gonna play it right now. I'll show you real quick.
As you look forward now, what do you think you guys need to cross the threshold?
Figure out a way to be consistent. I think we had enough. I think we do have enough. It sucks because, like, you don't know who's going to be on a roster any given year. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to play with the guys that I did have the opportunity to play with. And it's been like that every year that I've played in the league. So we had enough. Next year, we will have enough. And we're going to be right back in the same situation. And we're going to get it done.
So pretty prophetic because they were in the same situation and
quite literally the same situation.
Yeah. Quite literally the same situation, and they got it done. So, the only thing is, I feel like this might have been tougher than a regular Game 7 on the road, just because momentum had swung so much. Was there anyone that thought the Heat going into that game, the Heat had a chance? Was there anyone that really thought the Heat had a chance at all in that game? Not your typical Game 7 where it would be like 2 wins, then 1 win, then 1 win, then 2, 3-3. You expect that team that just won the second 3 to basically have complete momentum and just to and at home to just close it out. So I think this might even have been a harder scenario than they even envisioned last year. But what are your thoughts on that, Abby? How much harder was this game for Miami?
I didn't really think it was the momentum. I was a little more worried just because it was Game 7 in Boston. You don't
think momentum had much of a factor in it?
Not really.
I mean, it turned out it didn't, but
yeah, obviously, yeah. I don't know. It's something with Miami's just mentality. I wanted the Heat to win, to be honest, but I don't know. It's something about their mentality and how they've treated every single of those 3 losses in a row. I was like, I don't think they're gonna let them. I don't know. I expected the game to be closer. I thought it was going to be more of like a dogfight there, but yeah. I wasn't concerned with Miami going on. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think the momentum was going to be the issue. I was more concerned of it being Game 7 in Boston. But then again, I don't know why I was like that either, considering that they won already in Boston those first 2 games. So I don't know.
So I hear you. Now Jimmy Butler MVP. Agree or disagree? Jimmy Butler MVP, Matt?
Yeah.
Abby?
Yeah, he was terrific the whole series. Even like I made a comment about like 28 shots, 28 points. I mean, that's not great, but he was still very good during the game. Yeah, he racked up I don't know how many steals. He played his ass off. He moves the ball well. He's shooting the ball well from these. Traditionally, he's not a great 3-point shooter, but he shot well in these playoffs. No, he was great.
He was heart and soul. He was the heart and soul of the Heat. The whole playoff run
makes it run.
Exactly, Abby.
Oh, I agree with it. I knew. I mean, as soon as the game was over, we already knew who it was going to. I know there's a whole argument with Caleeb Martin and everything like that, but I mean, if you didn't give it to Jimmy Butler, I think that'd be weird.
Yeah.
Caleeb?
Yeah, I mean, it's only because I think Mr. Martin, outside of his fantastic name, can't ask to be or even argue about it. Jimmy Butler is the heart and soul, and I'll bet you this. Had Jimmy Butler twisted his ankle at the beginning of the game, Miami would be at home right now.
Possibly, but I'll tell you what I do think. Here's one thing I do think, knowing what I know of watching enough of Jimmy Butler, I feel like he would have been more effective than Tatum was. I feel there's more heart. I feel like there's more heart in Butler, but there's more dog in Butler.
No, you're right about that. But lateral movement is lateral movement.
No, you're fair. It's fair.
That ankle, it's a rough one. But hey, hats off to the Heat. They're going home in 6. I'm telling you, they're not beating Denver.
Well, great transition because that's where we're going next. We're going to go. Let's preview this series. Caleeb, since you
Denver.
On it.
Denver. They don't have Jokic is the best player in the NBA right now, and his ability to his basketball IQ is off the charts. He can pass. His defense is his weakest part, right? But he's still a presence and he's big. Adebayo can't stop him. That's not happening. And I think if you double team him, which they're gonna do, dishing out if Murray, Porter Jr., all the other guys, like it's gonna be a dogfight. And I want to see if Miami. The thing that I like about Miami, and I'll agree with Abby about liking them, is that they're all underdogs. Even Jimmy Butler. See, he got traded. The Sixers got rid of him, right? So it's like there's a little bit of a chip, like, oh, okay, I'm not good, so just ship me away, huh? Oh, okay, right? So he's the leader of the underdogs. They got a wreck team. So they're going to play no matter what. But I just think Denver's going to be too much because they've yet to face a middleman like Jokic. Giannis doesn't have Jokic's ability. He's better athletically. He can't shoot as well, and he damn sure can't pass as well. But he's a better defender. Then you got Embiid. Embiid looks like everything hurts, right? And all he does is score. He's a liability on defense because he can't move too much, and he damn sure ain't passing like that. So you don't have to worry. So I think this is going to be different for Miami. I don't care what the regular season was. I saw on ESPN this morning, like, oh, Jokic shoots 38% when they double take. Stop it. This is a whole new thing, and I think Jokic gets the title this year.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I just want to clean up something a little bit that Caleeb said. Philly didn't trade Butler. Butler got the fuck out of there. He left as a free agent. He was
I thought he was a sign and trade too. I thought it was a sign and trade.
Tomato.
He's
not there.
He signed a 4-year deal. Got out of there.
Oh, I thought it was a sign and trade. I know he's signed, but I thought it was
over Philly too. To tell you the truth, not so much the team. I'm talking about the city. I'm talking about the quality of lifestyle.
I agree. I think I agree with everything Caleeb said. I think Jokic is too good. I don't think they'll have an answer for him. I think he moves the ball too well. I think Denver's a better shooting team. Having said that, Miami had not a great shooting season, and they've been great in the playoffs.
In the postseason, they've totally turned it around, especially three-point range.
Yeah. So, but I think Jokic is gonna be too much, and I like Denver in 6 also.
Abby?
I'm pretty much on the same board. On the same boat as both Matt and Caleeb. I mean, Miami. I feel like the story, I kind of would like to see them win just for like the story of it. Because like Caleeb was saying, they're the underdogs. No one expected them to be there. They're only like the second 8 seed team to ever make it to the NBA finals. So I feel like the story would be great, but I still have Denver. Of course, I've mentioned it before. Aaron Gordon went to U of A. I'm all for Arizona players. I mean, Denver's never been to the finals, their first finals appearance. Jokic, 2-time MVP. I think he deserves a ring. There's no stopping him. Against Adebayo, there's no stopping him. And they're coming off of how many days rest? They've been resting this whole time. They're fresh, ready to go. Yeah.
Now, you don't think that hurts a little bit? You don't think that causes a little bit of rust?
No. I think rust
you take it for Jamal Murray and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's better for Murray to those injuries to kind of, get themselves together. I think like ring rust or court rust or whatever you want to call it, I think that's more of a fable type thing, because when you're dialed in, it takes you a couple minutes and you're in. Like, even if you are off a little bit in the first 30 seconds, first 2 minutes in, you're done. Like, once you crack your first sweat, or a fighter says, once I get that first punch, it's like, oh, okay, we fighting. Like, everything comes back because these guys are pros. They've been doing it for so long. It's a thing called muscle memory. Your body just reacts. It just knows. It just, you know what I mean? Like it's so I highly doubt there'll be any rest. I think they're going to be well rested. I think Miami might have a little fatigue, especially going to Mile High, because now you're getting less oxygen. You're doing, and you're getting half the air you're used to getting. That's going to be an issue. I promise. Like, I think Denver might blow them out in the first game. I could be wrong, but like something like that could happen. Not that they're going to sweep them. I highly doubt that. I think it's in 6. But it's like I think Miami will look rusty. And it's only because of the air. Like them not being used to it. Because they just leaving Boston going right to Denver. It's different running up and down a court at full speed.
I want to see something real quick. Is it 2-3-2 or is it 2-3-1-1-1?
I think it's 2-2-1-1-1.
That's okay. 2-2-1-1-1. Okay, because I know sometimes they'll do it where it's like 2-3-2. I'll tell you what.
They used to do that. They used to do it that way in the NBA. I think they stopped that, right?
Yeah, it's 2-1-1-1. 2-2-1-1-1 I'm gonna go with the Nuggets in 5. I think part of what Caleeb said,
gentleman's sweep.
But not a gentleman's sweep in the sense. I think Heat are going to earn it. No, I get it. I was looking at a gentleman's sweep as a team where they win one game, but they're kind of like it's because the other team took the foot off the gas. That's how I kind of look at a gentleman's sweep. I look at they'll earn their win. The one win they get, they'll earn it. I think the games will be somewhat close, but I think Denver is just too good. I think they're like partly what Caleeb said. I think they're too well rested. I think Miami's just coming off a hard-fought series. They're going to be a little bit slower on that. I could see Denver winning this one in 5 with some close games, not a blowout by any stretch. But I do think the one win that Miami gets, I believe they'll earn that win. So I'm going to go with that. Now, one other question about this series. I want to take, because they're the obvious answers, right? So I want to take Jokic out. I want to take Butler out. Who is the most important player in this series? Start with
Jamal Murray.
We'll start with Caleeb, I guess.
No, Caleeb said exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I already know they're going to try and double. Go ahead, Caleeb.
No, you got it.
I'm probably going to agree with all the stuff you say.
I agree, and I know Nigel is a huge.
No, I agree too.
So, yeah. But what do we think about? To be honest, I can't be honest with you because Abby can be a little bit of a homer sometimes. I thought she was going to go Aaron Gordon.
I mean, he's all over the place. You know what I mean? He's going to be in there just being like a nuisance. You know what I mean? So, and that's how he plays. He plays offense. He plays defense. You know, he's been consistent, but I don't think he's that big of a difference maker, if that makes sense.
He could be very effective in like a 12-point game.
Here's what I'll say about Mr. Gordon. He is, to me, he's a big difference maker in just bothering Jimmy.
Exactly.
That's all he has to do. I don't even need you to score. Just make him mad.
Yeah.
Like,
and give me one or two nice dunks. Well, give me like one or two.
He'll
awesome
get that.
Dunks.
That will come and make him buckets frustrated because he'll get the ball. He'll turn the ball over. Right. You forget Gordon guarded LeBron.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is LeBron souped up. You know what I mean? Like he had him and he was able to slow LeBron down a lot. I think he'll be able to do the same with buckets. And the one thing I'll say about Denver, this is Jokic and Mr. Murray. They don't seem like they're going to be visiting Booby on the River at 3 a.m. They're not leaving Live at 2 a.m. They're not going to Story to go watch Future perform. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, they're going to be in their hotel room watching video, watching tape, and sleeping, eating their Wheaties. They're going to be ready. Like, they're not, like, the city of Miami will have no effect on them. Like, they want to win. Mm-hmm. So, it's going to be interesting.
I got them winning Game 5 at home, Denver. So, you guys will say 6, I say 5. And I think we're all in agreement. I think Jamal Murray is the wild card in this series. He's the one guy that if he's off, it could mean trouble for Denver. Yes. But if he's on, it's lights out.
If he scores 20, and at like 25 every game, done.
Yeah, it could even be a sweep at that point.
Done.
It's that
and
crucial.
That's easy for him. Like he could do 25 in his sleep. The way he's been playing.
Look how good he played last series against the Lakers. So and now you're talking about a team that's going to be a little bit withered down. Like we looked at the Lakers as withered down because they were old. Miami's going to be withered down just because they've been playing for the last 2 weeks in crunch time games.
I don't know who's going to guard Murray. See, that's the issue.
It's got to be Butler, no?
You going to put him in foul trouble? Like
maybe you give him help, but I mean Butler's their best defender.
Yeah, but he's also your best offensive option.
Yep.
And you can't put him in foul trouble because Murray, if he's on Murray, Murray's going to just go at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's going to be interesting. Here's why I think Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the playoffs right now. We'll see how he makes those adjustments. Because if I see it, I know Spoelstra sees it and knows what, and has an answer that he believes will work. So I'm looking forward to see their defensive strategy against those boys.
I'm you know what? That's a good point too. I'm really curious to see how Spoelstra handles the matchups in this series. And it's a little sidebar. Did anybody see I saw it this morning in the news. Did the report where LeBron tried to get Spoelstra fired at one point, and Pat Riley supposedly was quoted as saying, "Don't ever come to my office and tell me to fire a coach ever again." To LeBron, I don't know. We don't know if it's true, but it was in the paper. It was in the news today. I was like, give Pat Riley some credit for being able to talk to like the star of the league, the face of the league, not of your team, the league, and basically say, "Don't ever do that again."
Well,
I got a little bit of credit if it's true.
Like, much stuff he's done in the league, like he's not going to let anybody try and big dog him.
Yeah,
and he's old school. Yeah. I think it definitely could be true, and probably more than likely is. It might be why LeBron left when he did.
That's a good point.
And LeBron was the villain of the league in his time in Miami.
Yes.
Like he wasn't nobody. Like they didn't like him. You know what I mean? So he
also didn't help himself either. He signed. If you remember, signing with Miami made him like almost part of this evil empire. And then remember that first year they lost. What did he do? He's like, well, everybody else has got to go back to their stupid jobs tomorrow, and I'll still be okay. That I think rubbed people the wrong way, and that was I think it was one of the things where if he could take back. There's a few things I know that he said that he could take back. I gotta imagine he might not ever admit it, but that's got to be one press conference I would think he's got to take back a little bit.
Man, I hope he does.
I also don't think like him signing in Miami wasn't necessarily made him a villain. It's how he did it. Which I'm sure if he went back, he might have done things a little differently. Like maybe gave Cleveland.
Well, he said that he said he would do it differently.
What's that?
He's said that he would have done it a little differently.
Yeah.
That post game after the finals lost, the way he was like, well, I'm going to be fine because I'm still basically he was like, I'm going to be fine. I'm still a millionaire. Everyone's going to go back to their stupid jobs tomorrow. I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially if you weren't already a LeBron fan. It just eked you over even more, I feel like. But
sometimes you gotta embrace the villain because you'd be surprised when you embrace
like in wrestling,
the villain,
right? For wrestling,
that's when they love you.
Yeah.
Right? Ric Flair, the biggest heel. People love Ric Flair. Yep. He can't go nowhere without getting cheers. Same thing happened with my boy, Conor McGregor. He wins and he comes in the ring and he says, okay, because he knows the world hates him. And he says, I like to take this time to apologize to absolutely nobody. You know what I'm saying?
The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
The best ever. Like sometimes you gotta embrace it. So I'm into it. And the embracing of the villain is what changed Kobe Bryant's career too.
Yeah.
When he became the Mamba. People don't remember how that happened. He became the Mamba during the Colorado trials.
Yeah.
I won't say that word in this thing, but you know what it was for. And he was going to court in the daytime, traveling to wherever the Lakers played and dropping 40 every night.
That was where my tide turned, where I became like, by the end of Kobe's career, I was a full-fledged Kobe fan.
That's right.
And that was where it turned because and again, we won't get into it, but I believe
embrace the villain.
I believed his side. I felt like he was being unfairly singled out with that. I think there's more to that story, which made him the innocent guy in that sense. And we won't go into it, but
innocent is far. But I'll tell you this, where he messed up, where I still can't recover from it. I should have paid him like Shaq. Oh, tragedy.
that was actually, that was almost as bad as.
Listen, I understand we're in a different time now and everybody's sensitive, but there's male rules. There's certain things you just don't do to another.
As D'Angelo Russell found out his first time in LA. Yeah, that was.
I can never root for him. That's the absolute worst. You're gonna ask a man a question and then record his. Whoo! Anyway, I'm just born in a different generation.
It is. Yeah, we were definitely a different breed. All right, so let's get into the next thing, guys. Let's see what we got. Tyler Hero, you know what? Yeah, we should have read this before talking about it. Tyler Hero might make it back for the finals. I think as an 8th seed, nobody really looked at it like they were going to have this kind of run. So I don't think anybody thought, oh, Tyler Hero, it's done for the season. But we actually might get back Tyler Hero for this. Does he make if he comes back, Caleb, does he make a difference in the series?
Well, he can because he's a good shooter. So a sniper can always make, because again, like I was saying throughout this whole playoffs, it's not what you do, it's when you do it. And you could be 0 for 20 and then hit the 3 that wins or ties the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he can absolutely be a difference maker just because he's a sniper.
Matt, does he change your outcome? If he comes back game 3, is that just too late?
I think it is too late, but also like he's coming back from like a broken hand, right?
Broken hand, and he's supposed to miss 6 weeks.
Yeah, so it might be hard to get in a rhythm with that. I mean, maybe he can, but I think it's probably going to be too late. Although it'll be a nice morale boost for the team to see him out there and with the team. But that's got to be hard, like because obviously he hasn't been shooting. It's his right hand or left hand.
Right.
I would say I think it's his right.
Okay,
it's a shooting hand.
It's a shooting hand. I'm assuming he's a righty.
Yeah, he hasn't been shooting while he's been out, so it's a hard spot for him. But I think it's too little, too late.
Abby, change it for you?
Doesn't change the outcome for me. No, especially if Denver goes up 2-0.
Does he add a winner to that? Does he make it a closer series for you?
I mean, he definitely can. You know what I mean? I think his presence makes a difference. I'm interested to see what Spo does when he's back in, because they've been winning without him, and just kind of figuring out where he's going to mesh in there. You don't want to mess up the groove that they already have.
If Miami radio is all like New York sports radio, believe me, there's people calling in today saying, hey, listen, we don't want him back. Let's not mess with what's been working. Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, there was times where in New York, I don't know what the national coverage was, but in New York sports, there was people saying, hey, listen, if Randall's ankle is kind of bulky, maybe we don't bring him back because we're playing really good without him at times. turns out you needed him. If not him, you needed somebody. He was the guy. But I know on New York radio, we were already trying to say, hey, we don't need Julius Randle. We did need Julius Randle. So you get if it's anything similar to New York and Miami, I'm sure there's people saying, hey, let's leave our hero off the list. We've been doing well without him. Why mess with something that's working right now? We'll deal with it in the offseason. We'll figure out where we at in the offseason. So I would love to know what they're talking about on Miami radio today as far as his comeback. So
I think that's true, though. Sometimes you don't mess it up. You know what I mean? Like Drew Bledsoe goes out, some irrelevant guy comes in. I think his name was Tom Brady, and starts playing, and they start winning. And Bledsoe's back, and a guy named Belichick said, "Sit down." You know what I mean? Like
I hear what you're saying. Sometimes you get into a groove, and you don't want to mess with the chemistry that's really built. But there's other times, but and it might be the case with Miami. I know in New York's case, a lot of people that were calling up and hating on Randle was unjustified. We needed Randle, and if we had a chance at all of being Miami, Randle needed to play well, and unfortunately, he did play well. Obi Toppin wasn't going to win us that series if Obi Toppin played instead of Randle. We weren't going to win that series. I'm sorry, but if Randle could have played at the level he played at all year, we had a shot. God bless.
Thank you. You notice I muted that, so you guys don't have to hear it.
Yeah, but I saw it.
That's why I didn't even really know what was going on at first. And I didn't even know you sneezed until Caleeb said it. Yeah. But all right. So Bucks are hiring Adrian Griffin as a head coach, the Raptors assistant. How do we feel about that one?
Good. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It's all that matters because Matt's a Raptor guy.
Yeah. I mean, you have Giannis, so I think it's going to be good. And there, as long as you like. Nick Nurse was a big kind of like adjusting, like mid-game adjustments and moving schemes and stuff like that. And so I think that'll benefit that team a lot, especially depends on what they do with Middleton or upgrade him or have a healthy him back. But I think it's good. They're going to be good. To be honest, no matter who's coaching them, they're going to be in the top 3 seeds in the East, probably. Yeah. I think it's a good move. Plus, I always love to see the guys who paid their dues as assistants for years get a crack at a job. I love that.
I think I could coach the Bucks to 40 wins, right? So I mean, Griffin could definitely do pretty well. I think. Caleeb, what's your take on the hire? You like the hire?
I agree with Matt 100%. I love that idea. Like, I love the fact that this guy is getting the opportunity to do what he does and starting a whole new career for himself. I think it's great. And he's getting a great shot because he gets to coach the most athletic player in the NBA for his size and all of that. Like, you got Giannis. So I think it's great. I think what Toronto was doing, depending on how much of an impact, or what he was doing there, I think taking that mentality and bringing it, because you don't have the worst name, name in sports. I hate Spicy P as I can't stand it, but you don't have Spicy P doing that. Now you got Spicy G, you got Giannis, and I think that's
Spicy G. I kind of like that.
You got a whole new level of ability there that you didn't have before, that I think implementing those things that they were doing in Toronto is nasty. So if they can keep Middleton healthy, where he could stay, well, God willing, he stays healthy and can improve on his jump shooting, you could basically be running what Toronto was running with Siakam and Van Fleet, because Fred is a shooting MF.
Yeah. Abby, what's your take on this hire?
I mean, he's returning to the place where he started as an assistant. He's had proven success. Obviously, he's going to an organization who is already pretty established and whatnot. I guess I should direct it to Matt. Why didn't the Raptors just take him? I just kind of found that
I agree. I think it's just an overall
little odd. If they weren't good enough for the Raptors, what made him good enough for the Bucks? Two different organizations. We are working with totally different schemes, but
I have an opinion on that. But Matt, you go first.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a matter of good enough. I think it was. I imagine has a similar kind of. To be honest, I don't really know how it works in the huddle with the assistant coaches versus the coaches, but I think they probably wanted to just change it up from Nick Nurse. And so he came up under Nick Nurse. He probably has a similar style, I imagine. So I just think they probably wanted to go a different direction, but they did interview him.
I agree with Matt. I think if they're gonna change coaches, is because they wanted, because Nick Nurse still did a great job he's still a great coach. So if it wasn't about getting rid of a coach that was incompetent, it was about just changing the voice in the locker room. I think the best way to do that is to change everybody there. So I agree. I think it's the same reason why Matt just said. That's the reason why I would have did it. The only thing I could say is I don't know if I'm Milwaukee. I think Adrian Griffin's going to be a good coach. Is he going to be better than, say, Nick Nurse or any of the other guys? Monty Williams, any of the other, Mark Jackson. We know Mark Jackson was in an interview for this job, and so what made him stand out? Is he the guy? Is he going to be like this next great coach? Because they had other really good coaching opportunities to hire, just in this coaching search. Caleb, do you think he's going to be able to be one of these next guys that?
I don't know. I think obviously his pitch of what he believes and what he wants to do was better than those other guys, right? And I also think, like Abby said, he started his career there. I think that's good. I actually didn't know that, so that's a great piece of information. Thank you, Miss Abby, for that. I think it's great. But to the Toronto thing, I agree with you and Matt with that. I think it was probably to just change everything. But my old trainer used to always tell me, familiarity breeds contempt. And what he was saying is, it's the same reason why Jesus couldn't perform miracles in Bethlehem, because everybody Joker, your daddy is a carpenter. Get out of here. You're the son of God. Okay. Right? So when there's no faith, you can't do what you do. So I think there was a little bit of that in Toronto. They're like, dude, we know you. Stop it. Show me hairy chest. You're not a head coach. Relax. We're doing it out of respect. Let's have a good conversation, and we'll see you later. You know what I mean? Because when you know somebody, it's so funny. People would talk, oh my God, your brother-in-law, Will Smith, this and that. And I'm like, oh, it's just Will. But because I know him, I'm around them, so it's different. When you're close to somebody, you don't see it the same way that somebody outside is dude, that's, you know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit of that goes on when you're real close to a situation or a group or something like that. That's all. Sometimes you gotta leave in order to come back with the respect. And they say, oh, dang, why didn't you do that for us? You know what I mean? We didn't know how good you were.
Caleb, they say the same thing to Matt about me. All Matt's friends say, Gene FitzMagic? Yeah. And he's like, he's just another guy.
That's true.
There you go.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. While we're on coaching, I know we don't talk about hockey on the show.
Oh,
but I got to give a shout out to, we don't really talk about hockey.
We can a little bit more, but you're the only guy that really, we got to make sure you're in.
Arizona doesn't even really have a hockey team. The Coyotes are just in shambles.
I want to give a shout out to my boy Spencer Carberry, who was the assistant coach of the Leafs the last 2 years. I went to high school with him, graduated with him. He played hockey with my brother for years. He just was named the head coach of the Washington Capitals.
Well, yeah, I did know that. I did see that, and I saw you did post about it. And I said, "What about the Rangers next?" And,
I know. So it's always all about you. So, Carbs, congratulations! I know how much you're making roughly, so beer's on you this summer. Way to go, buddy!
There you go. Congratulations. It's listen. I think it's always nice to see people that come up as assistants finally get that shot. We kind of said it right. We just said it right now with Adrian Griffin, and hopefully for Adrian Griffin and Carberry, both these guys are going to be guys that now can build their own coaching tree. That's always kind of the goal, I think, for a lot of coaches. Can they build their own tree? Yeah, with a ton of success. So, congratulations to both hires there, and we do have another hire to talk about. Let's see, that's the wrong one. We'll skip down to 8. Let's skip down to 8 because I want to do Sixers hire Nick Nurse before we talk about any of the other fun topics. Nick Nurse goes to Philly. He's obviously Daryl Morey was already familiar with Nick Nurse from their days in Houston. I like this hire a lot. I think this might end up being the best hire out of the bunch. Abby, what say you on this hire?
I mean, good for them. I was hoping he went to the Suns, but
is that who you guys want? You wanted the Suns?
Yeah, I mean, he was a finalist for the Bucks, the Suns job,
all of them.
And the Sixers. So he ended up going there, and I mean, good for him. I think they got a good coach, the coach that I wanted for the Suns. So I think it'll work out okay.
Caleeb, what do you think? How do you think? What do you think he changes the culture? I think Philly needs a culture change. Does he?
I think it's good. Change is always good. He doesn't trust me. Philadelphians are not Canadians. Yeah. So you're used to politeness and people being respectful. Oh, when you mess up there, whoo, I feel sorry for him. And what I heard is that that's the job he chose, that he decided he didn't want the Suns job. So really? I don't even know what that means. Like he said no to it. I heard he was offered and said no. So that says a lot.
That says a lot. It does. Because
it does. I don't know what's going on in Arizona right now, because to pass up on KD and Booker and CP3 and all of that means there's something foul afoot down there that's going on. Yeah. So we'll figure out what that is. But I think it's a smart pick for the Sixers. I don't know what this means for Harden, because I heard Harden and Nick Nurse don't
not too simpatico.
Blend well. Yeah. So who knows what that is?
If I'm Philly, I'm ready for Harden to kind of go on. I'm ready to move on.
Who are you gonna get?
I'll figure that out. But you know what? Harden is too unpredictable to go.
Go get Kyrie. Go get Kyrie, Matt.
He's available.
He is.
So
I don't know what the option is there. I mean, Nick Nurse doesn't really like people who don't try on defense and who kind of disappear. So that's James Harden. But they need he's still good.
Yeah.
In the regular season specifically.
You can get something for him. You can get a lot for him, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if you do a sign and trade, he's gonna kind of have to pick where he goes either way, though.
Well, I think it's gonna be probably Houston, right? That's where he wants to go.
And let me tell you something. If Houston does that, then that's just trying to sell. That's putting ticket sales ahead of winning basketball and developing players, because he is no way a guy that you want on your team when you're trying to develop young talent.
Yeah.
But that would be a mistake. That would be a mistake. So, and that's the thing. What are you going to trade guys that are upcoming studs that you have on your team that you went out and you drafted? Like Jalen Green's going to be a good ball player. Why would you trade him for a guy that's obviously only got a couple of years left that plays zero defense? What
is he, 35? What is he, 35?
I think he's only 34.
34?
But he feels old? I thought he was older. He feels older.
I thought Harden is like 33, and I don't know, but who knows?
Well, 33, 34.
I'll tell you right now.
You'll find it before Patty does.
Yeah.
He's 33.
33. All right. Doesn't he feel older than 33 to you, though? Doesn't he feel
looks older than 33?
And that's not just because of the beard.
Oh, he's going to be 34 by the time the season starts. He turns 34 in August.
He feels like he's 37, 38 to me.
Yeah. Well, because he's usually out of shape.
Yeah, that's part of it too. So
he don't care.
Oh, he don't give a shit.
And that's what. Listen, even if he wasn't that good anymore, I could see putting him on Houston if he cared. You can't have a guy that just mails it in and just wants to score buckets on his own. Be a guy that's going to help lead your young ball club into the next generation of seasons.
Yeah, I just don't like that kind of mentality. When you can go out and score 40 points and then just decide, I don't want to today.
Yeah,
and you let everybody down like that.
9.
I don't want that on my team. I'd rather have
in a game 7.
Yeah, I'd rather have a consistent 15 to 20 point player than a sometimey 40 point when they feel like it. You know what I mean?
Like that's how I feel about Tatum. You're right.
Yeah,
exactly how Tatum.
It always comes back to Mr.
Tatum. All right, guys. You know what? Before we talk about some of these GMs that are gone, right, or that are leaving their places, let's do a little fun. If we were to take the two rosters in the NBA draft, who would we pick? Now we're not going to be separate teams. We're just going to literally just go in a row. We'll give Abby. We'll go clockwise. So we'll go Abby, Caleeb, and Matt. Abby, who would you out of the two franchises, the two rosters? Who's the first guy you think would be taken?
Jokic.
Over Butler?
Yes.
All right.
I feel like it was an obvious choice. This is like
I'm just making sure it is. I have him. He would be my number one pick.
It was an obvious first choice.
Guess who's never winning an MVP? Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
He'd be my guy. But I'll tell you what, he might win a Finals MVP
if they win.
Yeah.
If they win.
Yeah.
I would have won Jokic too. So who are you going with the number 2 pick, Caleb? Who do you think is the second best player out of these teams?
I would have to say Butler slightly over Murray, simply because Butler can play defense and Murray is a little, just because of his knee. The ACL hasn't fully recovered and he's a little tender. And I'm talking lateral movement. And that means a lot in the NBA. You know what I mean? So I would say Butler number 2, slightly over Murray, but it could change because I think Jamal is an offensive juggernaut. Way better offensively than Butler is, to me, in my opinion.
I agree. I'm gonna take Murray 3rd, and same thing you just said. And you can tell, like you always say, it's always the second year back from a big injury like that is where you see the player really kind of start to get back to the swing of things. And you saw it this year because right as the year went on, he only got better and better and better. Now we're in the postseason, and he's playing maybe the best basketball we've ever seen him play ever. So I agree. I think if you were to start a team for next year, Murray's going to be All NBA next year. I firmly believe he's going to be All NBA next year.
Yeah.
So I take Murray 3rd. Who do you go with the 4th best guy in this? Matt.
Easy. That's Bam.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I like that. Okay.
Bam. I mean, he's a menace on defensively. Offensively, he's a matchup problem. He can play post. He can spread the floor. He's a freak athlete. He's awesome.
I wouldn't have went there, but I would have went somewhere ahead of him, but I get going there. Abby, where do you go? Now 5th.
Some of me is like, oh, Aaron Gordon.
That's why I would have went. I would have went Aaron Gordon 4th. I would have. I like the brand of basketball he plays.
Bam?
I think I would have took Aaron Gordon 4th. Well, it's my pick, Matt. I can do what I want with my pick.
That's very true.
I love Aaron Gordon. I watched him a lot when he was younger, when he played in Orlando. I love Aaron Gordon.
Athletes.
Yes.
Again, that's exactly what it is. Freak athlete.
Snubbed from the slam dunk contest twice. Snubbed.
That one year was abominable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the one who fucked him? Was it Dwayne Wade?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade, because he was it was the Miami guy that was in the final, right?
Yeah.
Was it, who was that? Richardson? Who was? I can't even remember. But yeah, that was brutal.
So all right, so who are you taking with the 6th pick out of this? Do you want me to read some names? Or you already?
No, I mean for me it would be my namesake. I'm taking Caleeb Martin.
Really? Okay.
Yes, he's a baller. Like he's showing it. Let me tell you, he just changed his family's life forever.
Yeah, he's gonna get a big contract.
Last game. He don't have to worry about nothing. He's gonna be making nothing less than $30 million a year. He's about to get.
You got to worry about though. That's what and we've talked about this before. That's what you got to worry about in the NBA. A lot of guys get paid off of just a handful of games in the right time.
You can't be mad at them for what the market value is.
I don't blame them. Get every dollar you can. I don't blame them at all. If someone says come out and get it, even if you're not, I'm with it.
It is what it is. But I would take Caleeb Martin just because I know I don't bet Tyler can come back from it and be who he was, because Matt is right. A broken shooting hand is way different. It'd be different if it was his left hand, his stabling hand. But the actual shooting, and you haven't done it, and you're going to be nervous. Like, shit, that don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be, so that's why I would take Caleeb Martin over it.
You're going to be also on driving. You're going to worry about driving. You're not going to want to get up there, putting that hand in harm's way, trying to get
and defense. Somebody blocking, missing the ball, but hitting your hand.
Yep. So there you go.
Just because you're ready to go doesn't mean you should go.
That's a great point. Great call out. With me, number 7, I go with Michael Porter Jr. I think he's had a pretty good postseason. I think he does a lot of the dirty work that you don't stuff that doesn't end up in the stat sheet. So I like Michael Porter Jr. there. And with the last spot, the number 8 spot, who are you going with, Matt? So
we're doing this to draft, like build a team, or to win in these finals.
It's more like who's the top 8 players in this finals, really.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go. Hold on, let me just think. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. It's kind of I'm gonna go Kyle Lowry.
Really?
Just because. Well, I think there's better players. I think
pedigree?
he'll be more important because he's got that. He's won, and there's going to be a game or two, I think, where he's just like all of a sudden he's got 27 points, but he just plays his ass off on D. I mean, he's kind of a little rat when it comes to flopping, but it still works. Like the refs still.
I don't know.
I think Hero's but I mean, he's not really going to be around.
Yeah, he's not healthy enough to really.
Yeah, so I think Kyle Lowry, because he could be a difference maker. He could also get 7 points and 6 rebounds average or 6 assists average for the series. But yeah, I guess I'll go with Lowry.
So that puts it at 4-4 as far as Denver to Miami players. So it's pretty even.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting. I just going into it just because Denver is so much better than Miami. I expected there to be more Denver players, but 4-4. It's even across the board. It's pretty much Denver, Miami for the most.
But here's the deal. See, here's where I always have this thing with people. It's not equal, right?
No,
2 plus 2 does not always equal 4, right?
Yeah.
So what I mean is this: you and me are 2 people, but if we're playing against LeBron and KD, it's not equal. It's not 2 on 2.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? Jokic is worth 3 or 4 of those players. So his 1 does not equal out. Like you can't, him and Butler. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
He's way on a different level than Butler. It is not equal. That is not one-on-one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're comparing players and stuff, you got to take that. It's not equal math. It's really not. So,
Agreed.
you know what I mean? Like that's just what I want to say about that.
I thought you were going to pin you and Gene against me and Matt. And I'm like, that's not fair.
Right. That's my point. You made my point right there. You would say that's not like, it depends on what we're competing. If we're doing weightlifting, me and Gene might beat you and Matt because we might be could do a little bit more weight than what Abby could bench press, right? Maybe. I don't know, because Abby could be super strong and we don't know. But just making an assumption.
I can run faster than all of you.
Right, but that's my point though. It's like it's not always equal. LeBron, it might be you, me, Matt, and Gene against LeBron, and he still might win. You know what I'm saying? So
there you go. All right. So up next, who added to their legacy this postseason? There's a lot of players that had some big postseasons, some had some not so big postseason. But who is the guy that stands out in your mind that, you know what, added to his legacy, added to what he's been so far through his career? Who's plus their career based on this postseason alone? Matt, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, it's still to be determined, but I think it's going to happen is Jokic. Like the guys who win the MVPs who don't win titles,
Barclays, etc.
Yeah, I mean that kind of follows them around, and they go, "Yeah, but he never won. Yeah, but he never won. Yeah, but he never won." So I think it's going to be him.
What about you, Abs?
It was either Jokic or honestly Jimmy Butler. They both is equal to me. I mean, like I said, I think Jokic is a huge reason why Denver is making their first finals appearance. He's averaging a triple-double in the playoffs, I believe, from what I was reading earlier. Yeah. I mean, the case for Jimmy Butler, too, leading a number 8. He's the heart of their team, like we were talking about earlier. Leading an 8-seed team for the only second time in NBA history to the finals. You know what I mean?
First time with the Knicks.
Yep.
Just saying. Just want to make sure that gets heard. The Knicks were the first time.
Making yourselves relevant.
That's all we got, really, is those things. Caleb, who do you got as the guy that really stood out this postseason?
I agree, and you could go either way. Matt is right, and so is Abby. Like they're equally right. It's either one of those two gentlemen. Because Matt is right. Jokic has to get a ring. You can't be so dominant and get all these individual awards and not get the chip, it always hurts you. Like they always talk about Allen Iverson. The only thing that goes in Allen's favor is they're like, well, he's freaking 5'11". He's not even 6 foot. They say he's 6 foot and he's not, right? Yeah. So he gets a little bit of like love because of that, and he didn't really have a team. So it's like he really, so he gets a little bit of respect from that, but Jokic wouldn't. And it's for obvious reasons. One, he's not American. Two, he's big as I don't know what. And to be honest, and I'll say it, he's a white guy. So all of that goes against him. So he's got like he needs it because he's in a black and African-American dominated league. So for him to play at that level says a lot. So you have to win because you're better than the other two competitors that you had that aren't neither one of them are African American, but they're both black, right? So you're competing against it, and people see ethnicity in sports. They just do. You can never get rid of it. It's always going to be there, so you might as well address it. So he gets that. You know what I mean? And Jokic, a lot of the naysayers were going against him in that kind of way. When you had Kendrick Perkins saying, I'm not impressed. He's just doing. It's like, really, dude? And you know why you're not impressed. It's the same reason why Christian McCaffrey doesn't get the love that he should get. Because let me tell you, if that was a brother doing what he does, he'd be in every commercial. He would have Skittles like Marshawn Lynch, Snickers, all kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. So I think Jokic, he needs it for his legacy. I think what this does for Jimmy Buckets is it cements him as a superstar. Because it was always, is he really? No, he's a superstar. Like, so that's what I think it does with no ring needed. They can lose, they can get swept, and it won't diminish anything from him. It only goes up.
Did you see that clip of Jimmy Butler trying to get the trophy for the Eastern Conference Finals? He's like, no, like I'll hold the next one. I kind of love that. It's just like that confidence. Like that's why he carries the team. That's why they've made it so far, because they've just been, like I told you, after they lost Game 6, they were so confident in Game 7. They're like, we're good.
You know what? I don't know how it popped up.
I was like, we can move on.
It must have popped up by accident. I'll tell you what I love is Jimmy Butler has said the right things all postseason long. When people try saying how it's, we've been saying it all show long. Heart and soul of the team. It's him and Caleeb says every week. Him and a bunch of guys that play in the rec leagues. And to his credit, anytime anybody said anything about role players, you play with role players. He said that I don't call them role players. I call them my teammates. And everything he's said, from maybe even going back to last year, we just saw the clip of him in Game 7 last year. Everything going back from that, he said the right things. He's come off as a lead, not come off as a leader. He's been a leader. He's been dominant on the court. He's done everything he needs to do. I think off the court, he's been just as important on the court as he has been off the court, or vice versa. You guys know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you guys. I do think Jokic and I do think Butler is the guy that definitely upped their legacy a little bit. And Jokic has to just finish the job now with getting that chip. But I'll tell you who I think it is, because I think he's becoming a household name in front of our very eyes. Basketball fans knew who he was already. We've talked about him a lot. But I think if you're a fringe basketball player, you didn't really know who he was until this postseason, is Jamal Murray. I think Jamal Murray has put his status even higher now. Again, I know everyone in this room knows who Jamal Murray is for the last few years now. But there's that fringe basketball player, basketball fan that watches just at the postseason, that doesn't watch a lot of out-of-market teams from wherever their team is from, that might not really know Jamal Murray the way we will kind of come to know him. And I think if you didn't know him before, you know him now. Mm-hmm. And I think he's had a tremendous postseason.
Yeah. I could give you that. I definitely see that.
So, all right. So let's move on to the next thing. Bob Myers, and we'll cover these both. Bob Myers and Scott Perry both stepping down from their GM positions from the Warriors and Knicks respectively. So my question is, with this one here, does Bob Myers get too much credit for what they built in Golden State?
Too much credit?
I don't.
Do you think the players win on their own, or does he get? I feel like he gets a lot of credit for that. Does he? Everyone right now is clamoring to get him. Does he get too much credit for what he built there, or was Did he fall into the right pieces?
Well, he got lucky when the cap spiked, so he's able to get Durant. So I mean that was fortunate timing, but I mean you still have to do it, you know. Yeah, I mean I don't know what too much credit. I mean, I think we've talked about this with coaching and stuff, but it's like if you're gonna give the guy shit when things don't go well, you better give him his flowers when things do go well. You know what I mean? So he put together, like, he made some great moves. Like, he bringing Andrew Wiggins in, that was a risk. He brought in D'Angelo Russell for that 1 year, which was because Curry was out, so a placeholder, but he managed to flip that into Wiggins, which ended up being a huge championship kind of move. So I think he did a great job.
Caleb?
To say he gets too much credit, I don't think so. I think because he didn't draft Curry or Clay, right? So like everybody's like, well, they already were there. Yeah. But to Matt's point, look at all the people he put around them, right? Like that was him.
Yep.
You know, the biggest mistake I think he made was paying Jordan Poole. I think he way overpaid for him. But
which is what I'm talking about before with Caleb Martin.
He had a good playoff series last year. They won the chip. You can't not pay him. You have to, right? Yeah. So I kind of get it. But that's the only thing. You know, I think he was great. Like the people he brought in, because you forget, like those first Warrior chips, like when they were winning, they had Sean Livingston, Andre Dawa, like they had it. Like he put all those pieces around them. And then continued with the Wiggins, the Pools, what's the other guy? Gary Payton II, all of that. Like Junior, he was doing all of that. Like that's brilliant understanding of what the team needs to continue. And one thing he's not getting credit for, he kept the core together through everything. Clay, Steph, and Draymond. He figured it out.
And to Matt's point, it's a lot easier when you have the cap space that he's had with the cap going up.
Hey, everybody had the cap space, but everybody ain't had the same level of success. So you got to take that out. Yes, it is the cap space, but you got to give him respect for understanding how to utilize it because every team had it, but not everybody could do what he was doing. You know what I mean? So to me, that's a respect thing. You know what I mean? We all got extra money, but I use my money to invest in Apple. You invested in something we never heard of. You know
candy
what I mean?
So, I buy a lot of candy bars. And they don't hold their investment.
You know, you should have invested in Snickers then. You know, so anyway, that's so like to me, I feel like to say he gets too much respect is a discredit or disservice to what he did. People always want to downplay what somebody else has done based on, like what was around them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You still got to go out there and do it. And I think he did a great job. So to say he gets too much credit is a disrespect.
I'll tell you where
the credit he deserves.
I think the one thing that hurts his legacy. He's only really got that these few years. But the one thing I think that does hurt him is does he have a notable draft pick? I mean, I know he's got some busts. Weissman was a bust. I don't even know where is he in Detroit now. I mean, who even knows? But he's known
hold on, he played good in Detroit.
But his time in Golden State.
Yes, he wasn't good.
Yeah, he was. So and that's my thing is, does he have a notable draft pick that we can look back and say,
no,
hey, he found some good talent? Like
a GM is more than just your draft pick. You got to manage everything.
I agree, but there's also the talent scout part of it. Like, listen, we never. You
can't be great at everything.
But that's a big part of it, though. Like, look at the guy they have in Toronto, Majiri.
But Gene, it's unfair because a lot of picks can look good.
It's actually Bobby Webster in Toronto.
Blake Griffin looked like, oh my gosh, in college, comes to the league, he looked like a porn star sitting on the bench behind Jason Tatum on Sunday. You know what I mean? With the stash and all of that. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of us that you can see a player and they have all the potential in the world, but it doesn't always come together. And then there's players that you don't even think about who become these juggernauts. That one is very difficult. And I would argue that Because does the GM who picked up Tom Brady as the last pick, let's just get, it's like, oh my God, I discovered Tom Brady. No, you didn't. You just had the last pick and just get, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's to me, picks are less than, because to me it's luck, because you don't freaking know.
There is luck. Here's what I always look at it this way. I never give it's different in football and basketball too, right? Because in basketball it's such a crapshoot with players. You know, you get a guy in the top 3 and chances half of the times they don't work out. The NFL is a little bit more like succinct. I always go, the way I look at it is I don't give a GM credit for landing on their first round pick. You should always, if you're doing your job, if you're half decent at your job, you should always nail your first round pick. And they don't. But I never give points for nailing the first rounder. I take away points if they pick a bust. Then after that, I give them picks based on how far down that each round is a player that they find. But I never give any bonus point for what you get in the first round, because if you're half decent at your job, you're supposed to nail that first round pick. You have a shot at getting one of the top 30 players in the country. You better nail that pick. You know what I mean? So I don't really give credit for that. But and that's what I'm saying. Like, I really think his most notable pick was Weissman, and that would turn out to be a pretty big bust. But you know what? We'll see. I'm sure he's going to get another job somewhere. If I'm him, I'd probably take a year off and then go. We'll see what happens with Scott Perry with the Knicks. I don't know. I don't think he was really shopping for the groceries with New York. I think they more or less let him stick around for a year. And I really do think it was more Leon Rose and Worldwide West that was doing a lot of the scouting over there and knowing what they wanted to do in the development of that team. So we'll see how it goes for both those guys. I think both those guys probably going to take the year off. I don't think Perry goes right back into a GM spot. I think he's going to be a front office guy somewhere, but I don't think he hops right into a GM spot. I think Bob Myers next year, just because of what he built, or not even what he built, but what he was part of, I guess we could say, in Golden State. I think he could be able to find wherever. I think he's going to have his own blank check next year.
He'll have his pick of teams.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. But
I
think
the
he's
best
got to wait
GM in basketball is the African brother in Toronto.
Oh, by far.
That's what I'm. Well, hold on. He's not even the GM of the Raptors.
Yeah, he's like the president now, right?
He's the president. Bobby Webster's the GM.
So he should have got promoted.
Yeah. So
he's phenomenal.
Masai's above. But
so,
I love Masai. I'm so glad when there was that talk about him going to the Knicks. I was like, no, keep him.
Yeah, we could have used.
I was there. I went to the playoff game against. It was against not the Bullets. What am I talking about? The Wizards. Mm-hmm. When Paul Pierce said no one on Toronto scares him, and he went out to Masai Ujiri. I was like standing 20 feet away from him, and he came out to the mic where out in Jurassic Park where everyone kind of watches outside. It's like, I heard what Paul Pierce said. I don't give a shit about Paul Pierce. Everyone went nuts, and I was like, I love this guy. I love this guy. He got a $50,000 fine. Who cares?
He's an easy guy to root for as a fan. He's an easy guy to root for if he's your guy.
Very smart.
I mean, and he finds guys in the second round. He finds guys undrafted. I mean, he's the he's the best guy. He's the best front office guy right now. Again, he's not a GM, but he still runs everything. Everything still goes for him anyway. So we're gonna get out here in a minute. Before we do our last words of the day, let's just go real quick football points. Jets defensive tackle Quinn Williams making progress on extension talks. Real quick, Abby, what do you got?
We already knew it was going to get done. I was never worried. I told you they need to figure out the stuff with Aaron Rodgers.
We knew Jamal Adams was going to get done, and that didn't happen either. So I'm going to be honest. I'm nervous until it gets done. I kept hearing how Jamal Adams is going to be a Jet for life, and that never happened. So
the thing with Quinnen that's bothering me is all the Twitter stuff. Him removing all the Jet stuff from his Twitter and all social media. Stop it.
It's just posturing. I think I do it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he'll be there. Antonio Brown generating genuine interest from NFL teams. Is this a joke? Honestly, he's going to play for the Albany Empires. Would anybody take a shot on this guy?
No.
They shouldn't.
It's a nuisance.
He went way too far now. It's too much. Like
Antonio Brown left in the middle of the game.
He did his best Magic Mike routine on the way off the field, and what a moron.
Yeah, but I just can't. Like, it's too much. He went way too far. You don't bring him on your team.
He was body bagging Brady, putting all those photos of him with Giselle. all that shit.
Meanwhile, this guy basically gives you the last
shit.
chance in the league, and that's how you do it.
Brady's
So.
fucking got him a 2 contracts.
You know what's funny? I saw something. It says in the last decade, Antonio Brown is still number 5 for most receiving yards at 10,000.
That's
I thought that was insane.
What a wasted
a phenomenal talent.
Yeah,
but
could have so many more good years though.
It's his mentality. It's his mind.
All right. So, and then real quick, we talked about a little bit earlier with Zach Browns and DeAndre Hopkins. Could be a mix. You think Watson is the common denominator there? Caleeb, you put real credence into this? This could really happen?
Yes, it absolutely can. Absolutely.
Matt?
Yep. They like each other.
Abby?
Yeah, it would make sense. He'd fit in pretty well.
There you go. And then last but not least, Jaguars to reduce running back Travis Etienne's workload. Makes sense. They got Jermichael Hasty there. They got D'Ernest Johnson there. They got a nice back. They have a nice plethora of running backs in that blackfield right there.
You see the blackfield?
That's what I thought he said. Something like that to me.
I meant to say backfield. I said,
I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
I said plethora, and then Eddie broke his phone. It was. I tried. Matt Hamilton tried to throw me under the bus. I was a speech error, man. It happens.
I think that was a self.
I said I tried to be fancy with plethora, and the L got stuck there. It was plethora.
Yeah, sure it did.
So
sure it did.
But anyway,
sounds like that one announcer when he was like the baseball dude, and he was like, you know,
that was
the N-word leagues, and he goes, "Whoa! I said something that might have offended a few people. Might have."
Right? Yo, did anybody hear it? Like it was like, what do you mean, Mike? Like, what world are you in? So yeah, I meant to say backfield.
I told you can't take ethnicity out of sports. It's always there.
and don't you love how Matt Hamilton, what a good teammate, just throws me right under the bus. Did you say Blackfield? As it turns out, I might have said that, but it was a speech error, so I apologize. But anyway, Jermichael Hasty, D'Ernest Johnson, they have a loaded backfield right now. I think that definitely gives them a chance. Like the kid came off a severe knee injury only 2 years ago. I think it makes complete sense. Let him lower the work usage. True or false, Abby? They're pretty set in that backfield, even with him limiting his workload. No.
Oh yeah. Agree.
Matt, Caleeb.
Yeah, well, I mean, this seems to be the way of the future with the running back, anyways. Is less and less of the bell cow, more of a committee
back
situation,
by committee.
anyways. Yeah.
I know that's how Philly does it.
The Eagles strategy. Yeah. Eagles roll with 3.
Yeah.
And they got one stud and a bunch of good players around that stud.
There it is.
There you go. And that's what they have here. They have, Etienne's still going to be their stud. He's going to be their bell cow, but you're going to spell him maybe 30% of the time. So
take that workload down.
All right. So, you know what? That's going to do it for today, guys. We're running a little bit late. So, Abby, last words of the day.
I've been sick with my allergies, so take your vitamins, people. Take your vitamins, drink your water. It's not fun. It's been horrible.
Say your prayers and take your vitamins,
people,
brother.
And all the California people, stop moving to Arizona. Just stop.
You're messing with the traffic.
We don't want you here. It sucks.
I think she's talking about you, Caleeb.
Exactly. I'm getting a house out there. Are you kidding?
Oh my God.
I'm bringing all my Hollywood friends. Like, hey, y'all, it's popping in Arizona.
Matt, last words of the day for my number one teammate that just can't be cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna bring up that you said Blackfield because I don't want to do that again because I want to move past that, Gene.
Let's move past that.
Go Jays. There's my word of the day. Go Jays. That's the only team I have left.
I believe Manoah's pitching today for you guys, correct?
Fuck. Yeah.
Pat, what do you show? That's a win. Why are you showing him a win? You gonna make him?
Yeah, I like that. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Pat. Boy, hey, we had 14 hits. We're starting to hit. Vladdy looks better. Manoah. If Manoah can not walk 7 people, that'd be awesome. If he can make it past the 5th inning, that would be
a bonus. That would be a bonus. Caleeb, last words of the day.
Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins, brother. That's for Abby. But spread love is the Brooklyn way, baby.
And guys, my last words are, hey, see you next year, Boston. Have a great today, a better tomorrow, and we will see you guys on Friday.
Bye.
Tragedy. So sad.
That's the pop-off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.